mwega murimi oro ringi ndakunyita ogeni thiini wa Kilimo Plus ino ni tabarira yaku murimi iria ikoragwo igikumenyithania na maundu maria meru thiini wa sector ya urimi igakurehera teknolojia iria urabatara gukorwo ugitumira ndeto njega na njeru iria ironekana thiini wa sector ya urimi nigetha urimi uri na umithio. Tabarira ya muthenya wa umuthi ya Kilimo Plus tubangite gukumenyithania na technology thiini wa urimi. Ndirario horo wigie uhuthiri wa ICT thiini wa urimi. Kahinda gatari kuraihu muno ni njirigite gukumenyithania na mwanake munini wiruteire kunyitithania githomo giake kigie financial management akahuthira ICT agatuthondekera software iria irateithia arimi aingi thiini wa ku manage mugunda wina ng'ombe cia iria na mburi cia iria. Muthenya wa umuthi ndirenda gutacukia ikinya ringi ngumenyithania na mwanake ungi o munini na haha niho ni wa mucoba ndina gikeno ni undu wa kumenya anake anini na iritu anini ni metikirite gucoka mugunda nake atumenyithie technology iria arahuthira software iria atuthondekeire no uria irateithia murimi munene na munini thiini wa urimi wina biashara. Niye njitagwo Gathoni wa mucoba kahinda gatari kuraihu muno nitukwanjiriria ndereti itu. Karibu sana. Thank you murimi ni undu wa gukorwo hamwe na ithwe oro ringi ni karibu sana kuri tabarira ya Kilimo Plus. Niye njitagwo Gathoni wa mucoba na ndina mugeni guku studio etagwo Nehemia Gitonga kuma Tenacia Systems Limited neguko nigetha tumenye ni wira uriku araruta no toragu gukunyiria koretwo thiini wa ICT atumenyithanie uria ICT iraruta wira wega na ngirigasha no ni gukuhoya na thijo kana guhoya na hinya na gitio muno uturekere umuthi tukwaria tabarire no tukwaria na githungu ni tondu Nehemia nigua gikuyu no ndangihota kwaria na nie githweri tutihotanaga ku gathungu unjitikirie no hangerituha niguthi na mbere na kuhuthia ndeto ino. Welcome. This is Utugi TV. This is Kilimo Plus.
And thank you. Thank you, Farmer, and we appreciate the opportunity that we've come to see how technology and how we are growing technology as a country, as a continent, and also as an individual of how best we can be able to manage our productivity in farming and making farming more of a profit-making enterprise than just a normal farmer.
Wonderful. That is what I like hearing.
Yeah.
Making agriculture a profitable venture.
Yes.
Tell us much about yourself. You're so young to be in agriculture, man.
Yeah.
What's happening? What's up? What inspired you? Who are you, first of all?
Okay. Personally, my name is Nehemia Gitonga, and I've grown up in a family with technology ventures, but also in agriculture. Mm-hmm. And when I was young, I said I want to try to bring something new in my generation. And that's why I admired to be a technology person from childhood. Oh. And this is a dream that is coming to pass. We've tried to do many things in technology, but my first priority was how can you turn agriculture into a technology? And that's where it all started.
How old are you, Nehemia?
I'm 32 years.
32 years.
Yes, and I started off from IT when I was still in 20.
So your background, academic professionalism, are you in agriculture, are you in IT, or where are you?
Okay.
What course did you do in your...
I have an IT background. Mm-hmm. That is, I've done computer science. But the first job I got, I built my capacity as a farmer. I was working when it was called homegrown. Mm-hmm. I worked for 7 years. Mm-hmm. At that time, we were doing administration for the farm systems, mm-hmm. both farming and pack houses. Mm-hmm. And that's where the interest for technology and the capacity was built in. And now we made it more than just in one company, and now it became a venture that covers the whole agricultural scope.
So you did IT in your training, in your tertiary training?
In university, mm-hmm. And then when I entered into the job I was doing, mm-hmm. I was given a department that was agronomy.
Okay.
Now that's when I was interacting with agronomists. Mm-hmm. I was tying myself to the pack houses, mm-hmm. and that's how I grew up.
Very well.
Yeah.
Now at 32 you're already CEO of a company.
Yes.
This is great. This is the best news ever.
Yeah.
At 32 you're a CEO of a company.
Yes.
A company that not only is operating in Kenya but it's also internationally recognized.
Yes.
Tell us much about that. How did you achieve this? I mean, this is great.
Okay, from the moment I left the previous company I was working, it was a British-based company that was homegrown. The owners, it was called Flamingo. Right now it's called Finlays. The owners were from UK.
Yes.
And then later I was promoted. I got another opportunity with Malibu Softwares Limited, which I worked for 6 years.
Which is also international.
Yes, it's a British software company, and we worked for this company for 6 years, and we covered the whole of Africa. And that's exposure that came to the interest of other technologies that were more advantageous and more needful and more affordable, and they had wider scope in a farming industry than just one technology. That's how it came to be, and that's why I came to know FarmSoft in South Africa, when most of the companies, they would cover all the scopes with one technology, and that's when we had to link up with the team members who are in the USA.
Very well.
Yeah.
So you're well traveled because of your engagement in agricultural sector, trying to integrate both agriculture and ICT.
Initially, you'll understand that the technology has been growing in the years.
True.
Most of the areas, especially in the financial industry, technology is captured because most of the people are trying to capture finances, to put controls in their financial environments. But agriculture, it was a little bit slow, unless in the commercial, very serious professional agricultural businesses. That's when they were trying to adapt technology in the concept of just having a computer where you can be able to capture your payroll and accounts.
Yes.
But in the operations, in the agriculture environment, there was not much business. They would put stuff in the Excel, where they would just track their processes, the rising cost of productions, but it was not given too much key. But in the rising process of technology, that's when now they gave a bit. Let's think more in the advancing this way in agriculture. So technology in agriculture has been growing over the years. And where as Kenya we are going, this is where we are right now.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I mean, meeting you is an honor.
Yeah.
Having to know what you're doing is really an honor.
Yeah.
And introducing you to our farmers is a great honor for me, because I know once you're able to introduce this to our farmer, to our basic farmers, to our middle-level farmers, to the large-scale farmers, I know at some point this software is going to sort them a lot of issues.
Yes.
And I know you've been attending a lot of conferences, a lot of stakeholders meetings, and you can hear the issues the farmers are raising concerning the lack of the proper technology and record keeping when it comes to software's management.
Yes.
Karibu sana kwa Utugi Television.
Asante.
Asante, we are proud of you. We are still going to continue with you, but I need to translate to our viewers exactly what's happening here.
Okay.
Otogo we yuwira na werorera murimi murata wa nie technology riu ni twikite ni no muhaka itumike thiini wa urimi. Mwanake otu na kiguku studio bwana Nehemia Gitonga ni mwanake munini wa miaka 32 na akoretwo thiini wa sector ya urimi agitukania urimi na technology gutigirira ati murimi ni wagia na software igiguteithia. Arimi aria ingi mateithikite na software ino ya FarmSoft ino ithondeketwo neka managwo onekendio ni mwanake uyu kwitukira kambuni yake etagwo Tenacious Kenya Limited ni aria makoretwo methini wa horticulture makiria muno aria mena pack house na andu aria makoretwo marongorerie thoko cia mabũrũri manaja ni undu wa mitaratarata Europe Gap na mitaratara ingi irarumirirwo ya traceability uhoro-ini wigie export ya horticulture. Murimi ni ngwenda gugucokia thutha hanini kuma mwaka wa 2010 kuma mwaka wa 2010 ni kwagire na mawatho mahiu muno ma Europe Gap. Ugituika ati okorora export karati no mwaka karati iyo itracewo kana irumirirwo kuma haria uhandite nginya uria uragetha nginya uria urapaki nginya uria uratwara airport. Hindi ria uhoro ucio wokire ni kwagire na githagathago muno thiini wa bururi wa Kenya, especially thiini wa sector ya horticulture. Migunda mingi minene mwena wa Naivasha, mwena wa Narumoro na Meru ikihingwo ni tondu indo ciao ni ciangatheirio ni thoko ya Europe. Uhoro ucio ni watumire kambuni nyingi cia mabũrũri ma Europe na USA moke guku bũrũri-ini kwanjia kwenderia arimi ene migunda iyo minene software ciao nigetha makahota gwikira information iyo yendekanaga. Gwathire atiriri software iria nyingi ciagurirwo ni cia mabũrũri macio. anake aitu anini magituikao matingihota guthondeka software no mathomithirio ku integrate software cia mabũrũri macio manaja no uria gwathire na mbere na gutacukio ni guthiete kugarurikite riu anake anini marikia guthoma systems icio maramenya ona no mahote guthondeka systems njegega gukira icio na nikio mwanake toyo akoretwo akimurikwo ni nyumba ciothe cia mohoro cia gugu Kenya cia South Africa ona cia Europe ni undu wa ikinya riria tacukitie ni ukwenda kumenya software yake igiguteithia atia wewe murimi especially angikorwo wi murimi urongoreirie thoko ya export ikaroro haha thini wa Utugi television tabarira-ini ya Kilimo Plus. Turacokia ngatho ni undu wa gwitikira gukorwo hamwe na ithuĩ thini wa tabarira ya Kilimo Plus. Turi na Nehemia Gitonga, uyu ni CEO kana murugamiriri wa kambuni itagwo Tenacious Systems Limited. Ni kambuni ya bururi wa Kenya ikoretwo nyitanire na mabũrũri mangĩ ma nanja uhoro-ini wigie gututhondekera systems cia guthondeka uhoro wigie thuguri na kuramata migunda itu. Bwana Gitonga,
yes,
you told us much about your experience, you know,
yes,
having worked with the packing houses,
yes,
you call them pack house or packing houses?
You can call them processing
houses.
pack sheds. Those people call pack houses, pack sheds, processing plants. Yes.
And what are the needs of those pack house? And what needs pushed you or, you know, inspired you into getting your own system?
Okay, the first thing that you know as a farmer is you need a discipline. You need protocol in every aspect of any business. Especially as a farmer, when you must build a sequence, or you need a protocol or a system. When you're talking about a system, is how you do things. So to track the way you're doing things is what most of the enterprises, they have challenges. You want to track every stage, whether it's in the pack house, whether it's in the farm. You're building a sequence of events, and you can be able to track them, how you're doing them, with a certain protocol or standard or a discipline. Yes.
So that is what inspired you, because you realized there are gaps.
Yes.
What gaps did you realize?
The first thing, I'm going to start with the farming. The farming, you'll understand that someone will just concentrate with two major bits. The first one is you think about your farm, what you're going to put in the farm. And the next thing you're thinking about is what you're going to get out
from the farm.
Yes.
Right.
The concept, first of all, you're not thinking about how much labor as a farmer, if you're doing as a farmer, how much labor in terms of pounds, shillings and pence you're investing in the farm, so that you know whether it's paying you and it's paying the business at the same time. The second thing, there is a lot of cost that's being wasted because you don't have the measurables. One liter of chemical to 1 hectare, 0.5 of chemicals to 0.5 hectare. There is a lot of wastage that is coming up in the measurements. So sometimes, because you can't track that one, there is a lot of wastage. Hence, you cannot be able to realize your profits. The third one is the concept now of building up a case or a history of how you're growing your farming. You cannot consolidate as an history to build another crop, so to know whether you made profit in this crop or against this one.
Or you incurred some losses on that other crop.
And now I missed, what did I miss for this other crop, so that I can be able to rectify for this other crop.
So this history building is what the software is doing?
Yes.
So what is it that I, as a farmer, am supposed to do with this software?
Good. The first thing you need to understand that a software comes to marry what you already do. The only thing is that a software is going to help you keep a discipline. The way as a normal person you carry a diary to monitor every step of what you're doing. Now because you have a diary, like a platform of what you're doing daily, now if you're doing equipment, the system will help you to track, like a tractor, its running cost. It's a protocol of cleaning, calibration, to make sure that you're always on track. And also it accounts the costs of running that equipment. The next thing, you talk about material or inventory or stock. Like chemicals, you're able to track your stock movement. How the stock is coming to your stores, going out to the farm, and the process that is being followed to for that, and the cost implication towards that specific hectare or crop.
Including labor.
I was going to the labor now.
Yes.
There are that options.
Yes.
The next one now is the labor bit.
Yes.
Labor, you may have 2 people, 10 people, 100 people, or yourself. You also need to put yourself as an employee of that specific block and put your labor rate. What is your labor rate for your own put? So that when you're growing the process of that crop, you know whether this crop is giving you profit or loss. And that's the sequence of marrying your normal routine work to a system that is going to monitor your protocol. And now you can be able to see back and see yourself on the other picture, on the other now as a system. Yes.
And you can be able to, assess whether the farm's profits are worth or not. You are able to even judge whether you as a farmer, if you're a full-time farmer, whether this is the right job for you.
Good.
Because some of the farmers, they toil. Toiling means they work so hard in these farms, completely so hard. And they give almost 90% of their time in the farms.
Yes.
Yet, the prices of commodities that they sell is not equivalent to the amount of time they've given into their farms.
That is true.
And some of them will proudly tell you, I made a profit of 200,000. But
Yes.
ask them, for how many months did you earn that 200,000?
Yes.
And if you are employed elsewhere, for those 4 months or
Yes.
5 months,
Yeah.
would you have earned 200,000? So some of them do incur losses.
Yes.
And for sure, they do not interpret those losses into their own systems. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're telling us about this FarmSoft.
Yes.
We want to know much about this software. We want to understand how it works,
Yes.
so that that viewer, that farmer that is interested,
Yes.
can get in touch with you and probably do the same training. But before we go into the software,
Yes.
tell us, are there any challenges that you have gone through as you tried to put up this system in place as a young person?
Good. The first thing that you will need to understand is any innovation is new in the market, and you'll always find an environment that you will have to create a creative awareness that there is a need why you need something. For technology right now is something that now being adaptive, especially in the African world, that people are being adapted. They started with the phones, they started with the computers, they build a case on some accounting packages, payroll packages, and then as we continue to grow, the world is becoming one. And now it will come to a point that even the enterprising of what you've been doing in the remote areas is coming to the light in the world. Irrespective of now you're doing farming before because of how our parents taught us. Now you're doing it as a professional entity that you needed to make it as a profit-making business. So even as a young person, I discovered that however much we try to create an environment of making business, farming is an enterprise which is a green gold.
Very well.
Yeah.
Green gold, that's the word.
Yeah.
I believe we mwanake munini mwiritu munini wekete IT na rĩngĩ ũroiga ndũrĩ na wĩra, you can integrate IT thĩinĩ wa education sector, thĩinĩ wa agriculture, thĩinĩ wa health, thĩinĩ wa politics, and the list is endless. Tiga gũikara thĩ uge wekire IT as a degree and you have no work. There is work to be done. It's a challenge from such a young person that has been able to use his IT knowledge to help farmers. And not only local farmers in Kenya, in Africa, in the world, you also can do it. Now, Bwana Kitonga,
Yes.
Give me 5 very good advantages of this software before I ask you very technical questions. 5 basic advantages of I as a farmer using this software.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think that is what you've been waiting to hear about. What can it do for me? Because there's someone who asked me some years ago, can it add a kg from my production? Because any layman will think, is it something can be able to? Can it work?
Can it move me from this yield level to this next yield level?
Yes. The first thing that you need to know is you're going to monitor your rising cost of production. When you're monitoring the cost of production, that one ties to your budget against the actuals.
Yes.
You will never find yourself you're short of pocket because you'll be trailing your budget every day. If you budgeted to produce a certain crop for 100,000 shillings, You'll be able to be trailing and prepare yourself in advance. Before you get shortfalls, be able to see this is where I am at the budget and this is where the crop is. You can be able to make sure that you don't run broke before you've harvested and sold your crop out.
Very good.
That is the first one. The second one is we have a challenge that every producer is producing. But in the market right now, you want to know is to track your customer and the customer expectation. So there is what we call demand and supply forecasting. This is a good platform that you can be able to communicate with your customers to show them that you have this crop available and you can be able to deliver it at such a time as this, so that there will be no wastage, that you've produced and then you don't know where to take the product.
Exactly.
And when you know that you have a shortfalls, you can be able to plan prior to be able to cover that gap, so that there is no wastage either in shortfalls or in the excesses. That is the second one. The third one is when it comes to traceability and food safety compliance. Right now we've heard that people are getting caught because they drank poisonous stuff in the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Where we are going with the food today, it's only controlled in the European market, in the USA market, Australia. It's coming in Africa, where traceability, any product that goes to the market, most of the products will be passing through laboratories to make sure that the consumers, they are safe for the consumption.
I think it's already happening. Today I was listening into a discussion where one of the maize manufacturers, maize flour manufacturer, is accused of selling GMO maize in the Kenyan market. And laboratories experiments have been done to verify whether that is true or not.
Yes.
So right now, even Kenya, we have started getting very sensitive in terms of what am I buying, and that is why this organic craze has come up. I'm sure you visited Karen, where on Sundays, where the organic commodities market is very active, and you can find consumers buying a kg of nyanya at crazy prices of 400 shillings per kg, just because it's organic. Because these issues of food safety, compliance and traceability has got into people's thinking, and people are very cautious of what they are eating. So I think that point is so important to us, especially for us consumers.
Yes.
That we want to buy nyanyas. If you are told they are organic, for sure we can prove that they are organic. If I'm told I'm eating tereres that are organic, for sure I can trace them and tell you and prove to you that these are organic. So I think, brother, this is great. Traceability is great.
If you're looking to go in business, first make sure that whatever that you're giving to the market is visible, and the consumer is assured safety. And any person, any business will be glad to partner with you to buy your product because their customers are assured safety. The next part is majorly where there is big challenge. Even if you have employed one person in your farm, or 2 or 10, the biggest challenge is to manage the people that you've given the responsibility to manage your farm.
True.
If you cannot trail a bay or a tunnel or a bed of how the laborers are doing it, then it will be very hard for you to manage an acre or an hectare, or 10 hectares, or 50 hectares, or 100 hectares, or 1,000 hectares. It starts from that individual that you've given the responsibility to start that job. And so the biggest advantage is you'll be able to trail and pay a laborer according to his work. It's called employee benchmarking. The last bit is post-harvest management. I'm going to pick it as one scope. Every time a product leaves the harvest, the first thing, there is harvest alerts. You know that whatever that is going, it is cleared to be harvested, and it's going to the market when it's safe. So the next bit that we're going to be finding here is the post-harvest management of what's coming from a technology, where it's coming for the part of the quality. The system helps you to be picking up pictures of infected parts of the crop, and to trail them to be able to make sure that wherever you are, maybe you are in a different area, you can be able to manage your crops in different regions at the same time. Just pick a picture link it to a technology, and then from there you can be able to manage your crops even from a distance. That is the biggest advantage, hosting a product or a technology when you're away from your farm.
Very well, very well, very well. Atiriri murimi ni uri wa kanyumba wajiririe gwa kanyumba mugaikara thina bundi agakwira ukubatara mahiga rori ithatu na muthanga rori ithatu na thimiti rori ithatu mukanjiriria gwa kanyumba gacagaca-inĩ ĩyo ri nyũmba ĩyo ĩgakwo ĩkarĩka na mahiga maria magatigara muthanga ũrĩa ũgatigara thimiti naguo ũgatigara na nĩ warĩkia mwako niwe ũcio kanjĩrĩria kuga ũyũ bundi ndoe gwĩka ithabu nĩ angĩanjĩrĩte na nĩwe stage rĩu ngwanjia gũcaria mũgũri wa mahiga kũ na rĩngĩ nĩ mahiga na matangĩihũra pickup ũguo nĩguo ũrĩmi ũkoragwo ũhana angĩkorwo ũrenda kũhuhĩra ndawa ya mũthigiriri rĩ system ĩno yagĩrĩirwo nĩ gũkuonia ũrabatara ndawa gĩthimi kĩrĩkũ ndũkagũre ndawa ya mũthigiriri ũtigie kanini ũige kũrĩa tũigaga kũrĩa igũrũ ningĩ ũthiĩ ũgũre ndawa ningĩ ya kũrũa na coffee rust ũtigie kanini ũige kũrĩa igũrũ to ũraiga kũu igũrũ nĩ hathara kũrĩ we na nĩkĩo Gĩtonga arakwĩra it is good ũhũthĩre system ĩrĩa ĩkwĩra gũkorwo wĩna itina 2,000 cia kahũa nĩwenda kũhũra ndawa ya kũrũa na coffee rust kana coffee berry disease ũrĩa twĩtaga CBD wekĩra details icio thĩinĩ wa system yaku nĩ ĩrĩkuonagia nĩ ml cigana ũrabatara cia ndawa ũkagũra the exact hatarĩ wastage nĩ njũĩ nĩ ũraria ciũria nyingĩ mũno na Gĩtonga haha nĩgetha tũtarĩrie kahora kahora mũrĩmi nĩ thengio nĩ ũndũ wa gũkorwo hamwe na ithuĩ na angĩkorwo wĩna kĩũria o gĩothe kĩhutĩtie tabarĩra ĩno ya mũthenya wa ũmũthĩ ĩrĩa tũraria ũhoro wĩgiĩ ũtũmĩri wa farm software ũhoro-inĩ wĩgiĩ kũramata mĩgũnda itũ twĩ kũraihu kana tũrĩ o mĩgũnda-inĩ ĩyo na tũraria ũhoro wĩgiĩ arĩmi arĩa marĩmaga ũrĩmi marongoreirie gũthondeka baida anjĩrĩria gũtũma kĩũria gĩaku rĩu anjĩrĩria na kiugo Kilimo Plus ũtũme kũrĩ 22294 22294 na wona weka ũguo kĩũria gĩaku gĩatũkinyĩra nĩ tũgũthiĩ na mbere na gũgũcokeria Bwana Gĩtonga umetuelezea sana kuhusu this software and especially how the farmer is going to benefit from the software.
Yes.
And I don't want to ask the obvious question, how much does the software cost? Yes. Before you tell us the benefit of the software. Okay. Because sometimes the price is not what matters. It is what the deliverables of the software will be to me that yes. matters. Okay. The deliverables, I mean the expectations of the farmer versus what the software can deliver. Now, on the basic layman's language, yes. for me to have this software, what do I require?
Good. For a technology, every technology has a requirement because when you have a dial, you need a book, a pen.
Yes.
And when you're coming to a technology, right now, every house, most of the houses in Nairobi, let's start from here, you find they have even a desktop machine mm-hmm. or a laptop. Mm-hmm. And I believe this is a scope that is covering even in entire remote areas, yes. because internet has been exposed to the part of the nation. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't have that platform of a computer, you can also use your phone.
Your smartphone?
Yes.
Exactly.
Smartphone or iPhone mm-hmm. or iPad mm-hmm. or a tablet. Mm-hmm. You can be able to access technology right now from platforms that are available with you. So if you're a starter to adjust, if you can be able to use a phone, then right now the applications that are available in the internet, you can be able to use them even with a laptop or a computer.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So with a computer, with access to network,
yes.
in terms of internet,
yes.
I'll be able to use this software.
Okay, if you have a challenge of internet in your region, there is always a platform that you can be able to use. We call it remote, where you can be able, you will have to just install in your PC, in your computer. You can just use that one from that PC. But if you want to use a cloud or an internet-based system, that's when now you can be able to have only a login and a password, and you can be able just to go.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, what type of softwares do you have? Do you have softwares for small timers like me, okay. who only has maybe about 3 to 5 acres of land? Do you have software for middle-level, large-scale farmers? Yeah. People who are doing 20 to 30 acres of coffee, tea, pyrethrum, and so on. And you have the very up range, you know, in terms of hundreds and hundreds, thousands of acres.
Okay.
And how do you differentiate in terms of trainings, in terms of implementations, and in terms of what you've just talked about, you know, the accessories. Like, for example, if I have 100,000 acres of coffee, how many laptops do I need? Do I need 1 or 2 or 3 or a whole, you know, workshop?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think that's a very critical question that was coming to you, because if you understand something is, it's a system, but does it apply to me as a small farmer, or I have an enterprise, a big farmer? Who am I talking to? First thing I want to tell you that these are technology that is covering the whole scope of the whole world. That should shock you because it's coming to you right now. But something you need to understand is the technology has been built to cover different stages and different scopes. If you're a young farmer, you have a platform. I will start with a middle farmer, who you have a small business. You've taken farming as a business. You can be able to have your own system. If you are a farmer who has 2 hectares, 5 hectares, 10 hectares, you can just partner with 5 or 10 farmers. You make a self-help group, and you can be able to own a system, your own system, because these systems are built in the concept of a license. You can own hundreds of thousands of companies in one database, hundreds of thousands of a company in one application.
So for that case where we are 5 farmers,
yes,
we have come together as a self-help group or the CBO,
yes,
we can own 1 license.
You can own a license, and that license you're going now to split your environments as sites, and every person will be having their own credentials for their own sites without the other person knowing what you're hosting in your site.
And we have the same common administrator?
No. Each will have their own administrative logins, with your own credentials, with your own site, with your own warehouse or store, with your own accounts. Every department that you have.
Very well, very well. Now you're getting where I'm going.
Yes.
I'm thinking about that farmer in Kirinyaga County.
Yes.
Who has been doing the best grade of coffee.
Yes.
You know, Kirinyaga coffee is the best in the world.
Okay.
If you didn't know,
yes,
it's the best in the world. As in their double A,
yeah,
is the best. But we have a challenge.
Yes.
When we go to market this coffee, the issues of traceability and food safety compliance are really a challenge. There are some buyers in the coffee auction who are very, very categorical.
Yes.
That if this coffee does not have what you call the traceability brackets,
yes,
in terms of tracing and reporting, the price is not as good as for that farmer who has been in the bracket.
Yes.
So let's take an example of Kirinyaga County.
Yes.
And take an example of one coffee factory that has about 200 farmers who deliver their coffee to that factory. So are you trying to tell me that, or you're trying to explain to us that if that factory is able to get a license, 1 license,
yes,
they can have different sites for each and every farmer, and they will be administrating the sites in their own farms, but all the reports are coming to one system, and that the buyer now can be able to come and look at the license portal,
yeah,
and be able to track down every farmer, what they've been doing, what qualities have been able to be submitted in this factory,
yes,
and now the buyer can be able to ascertain the price he's going to give out to this coffee. Are you trying to tell me that it can happen?
Thank you for the question. What you got to understand is this is a platform. It's not controlled by how many farmers or how many companies you host in the database. It's controlled by how many user logins that you have. So even if it's the government, let me just make it big, or it's an NGO, or it's a plantation, or it's a cooperative, what they will need is they can host one license, and then that license they can allocate it to technical assistants or agronomists who can be able to be representing specific regions.
Oh, I hear you.
So to manage a number of farmers, like 50, 100 or 1,000, they specify specific technical assistants who are monitoring what's happening in specific regions. And that's why they are the ones who are supposed to be reporting to that database with their own logins, representing that region. So they're splitting the places, in counties, in sites, in regions, but make sure that wherever they are, they have technical assistance.
Very well.
Yes.
Now let's look at the usability of this software. You know, the scope of this software.
Okay.
I'm trying to see that you can work very well with companies that are selling seeds.
Yes.
And they want to track down these seeds in terms of vulnerability, in terms of diseases like late blight, early blight. And I am the technical manager in charge of, say, Kiambu County. And I have this software. I'll be able to track down this region where we sold our seeds. We are able to know that our seeds are resistant to this type of a disease.
Yes.
And I can be able to key in based on the number of farmers that have visited and taken photos and taken, samples of what I'm following.
Yes.
So I'm saying, like, this software, as part of your scope, it could really help people who are in the business of selling seeds because they're able to track down. And then for the farmer, they'll be able now to pick up the information from the companies that are selling seeds and maybe loop them in their own licenses so that when they go to sell their crops, maybe for the international market, they'll have traceability from the owner of the seed to the farmer and to the packing.
Yes.
And I'm thinking the scope of this software is just too big for anybody to ignore it.
The scope happens like this. If you're a seed, if you have outgrowers who are producing seed for you,
yes,
even if it's gonna be 1,000, 100,000, you can be able to trail them in only one database. The only thing is you just make sure that the concept that you build, it has a structure, because the system just marries your structure. If you have representatives that are covering the region, just make sure that the visibility of what they're doing is captured in the system.
I hear you.
The next thing is if you are a chemical, if you own a chemical enterprise or a seed or fertilizer, you can be able also to host the database and get the visibility for the farmers who you're supporting to see how many farmers that are using your product. Because there's a time I was thinking, it's good also to concentrate on mostly for the farmers who are using your chemical. You have visibility as a farmer, because sometimes you go and round a chemical, but you're pushing the market where it's not there. It's good also to have a visibility of the farmers that are using your product. So it's also an advantage for the person who is giving out the chemicals and the fertilizer. You know, in the list of usage, who are those ones I can be able to build more capacity on because they're using my product.
Very well.
Yeah.
Agikorori we mwedia waido cia urimi. Nwendagia herbicides, insecticides, nwendagia fungicides, na no wende kugia na database yaku kuri urithia githomo muno kuringana na uria maratumira. Gwiciria we niwe turariria muthenya wa umuthi. Agikorwo we outgrower or rather we muguri wa indo ciremagwo ni arimi on your behalf. Andu aria maguraga miciri iremagwo ni arimi, andu aria ma exportaga macungwa, aria ma exportaga maembe, mababai, makorofia, na wina growers makukuragiria. Na ni urorio ciuria wathie kupaki kuria pack house, macungwa maya moimite ku, maya moimite ku, maya moimite ku, na matirahanana. Gwiciria we niwe turariria muthenya wa umuthi. Ni ukubatara kwaraniria na mwanake uyu nigetha agutare makiria. Ndireciria anake aria othe matinda makinjira ati nie nguraga miciri ngitwaraga airport. Mwangi, my friend, I have a friend who does that business. He's called Mwangi. He's my very good friend. Yeah. He tells me that his biggest issue is airport. You know, when they are packing for export.
Yes.
He's told, "Bona hii maembe haifanani na hii. Is it from the same farmer?" And then he starts saying, "Hii iliharvestiwa wakati kulikuwa kunanyesha na hii kulikuwa na jua." Because there's a difference. Yes. But if you had a software, it's very easy to say,
to know the sources.
You know, this is from this region, which is actually very hot, compared to this area, which is very cold. And that is why the mango, though it's the same breed, it's looking, you know, a little bit different.
That's why we'll talk about now, the post-harvest, where the packers, tracking where the source of the product is coming.
Very well.
Yeah.
Ndugiaga gukorwo ukirumirira tabarira eno, by the way. Tondu turakuruta kuma mukiro uyu tugutware mukiro uri ungi. Tuma mukira wa kurimaga na gathimu na karamu na karatathi, tuthie mukira wa kurimaga na tablets na laptops na smartphones na tugakorwo turi andu smart. Murimi ni ndirakena muno ni tondu ndiramenya nduri urathenga hau ni undu wa ndeto ria turi nayo muthenya wa muthi. Turaria horo wigie utumiri wa farm software thini wa urimi nigetha turime na umithio. Na ni turathingata muno andu anini andu ethi mutigetikire guikara o uguo mundu igage ndari wira angikorwo wina exposure o yothe ya ICT. Ndiraria horo wa training either ni thomeire diploma in IT, ni thomeire diploma in information management, information systems, ciothe no integrate information systems icio into agriculture na uteithike ta mwanake toy. By the way, this guy, he doesn't talk in terms of shillings, he talks in terms of dollars and pounds. I'm not joking. Is it true?
Yeah.
It is true because he's been able to be exposed. He's got the exposure. He's got to meet people who inspire him more and even giving him crazy business offers. I am very excited to have you in our Utugi TV studios today.
Thank you.
Wakulima walikuwa wanauliza ukitaka kutumia hii software which areas do you mostly cover? I think it is important for us to touch that. You cover flower business, coffee business. What is aqua?
Aqua is fish farming.
Oh, fish farming.
Aquaculture.
Oh, aqua, advanced viticulture. What is viticulture?
Viticulture is the ones who deal with vineyards. It's so that to produce the wine, the wineries.
Oh.
Yes.
Is this local or this is what you got to do in Egypt and
No. I think in Kenya there is I've seen that Kenya there are some who are partnering with some guys in South Africa. So I think there are some people who are doing viticulture.
You have somebody who've already sold to this software from viticulture?
Viticulture, I approached some guys in I think some parts of Rift Valley. But now it's because it's new to them.
Yes.
I'm building a concept with them. At least they understand there's a technology for you.
You're so brilliant. What is this? Enology Industries?
Now, Enology Industries now is the winery industry.
Wow.
Yeah. If you don't understand the vineyard, you can be able to understand the winery.
Winery.
Yeah.
I can only stop at wine.
Okay.
Because that is what is familiar with me.
Yes.
Let's go back to our software. The Farm Soft is an international company.
No. The FarmSoft is a product.
It is the product.
FarmSoft is a second generation of Produce Pack. Produce Pack was in there in 2001. It was it was from Europe. They had different parts: farm, pack house, quality control, and farm and food manufacturing. So when the initial systems took on the Produce Pack from the US, they took all these systems and they made it one. So that if you're a farmer or you're a food manufacturer, you can be able to take any bit you want from the system. They make it one, you can be able to take it in bits. So FarmSoft is the second generation and it's been there, I think, for the last 15 years. Yes.
Wow. This is great.
Yes.
Now, for that very farmer who has a pack house and and I believe in every big farm, people who are doing serious business which is profitable, their biggest headache is always in the pack house. I have a friend in Thika who tells me every time there is an export activity happening, I cannot even call him and his wife because they always say we are in the pack house and pack house there are issues. What are those issues and what is this software going to help that very farmer who is interested in this software?
Thank you for the question. First of all, you need to understand that there are merits of a customer or a consumer. And if it's a customer that has a requirement, because every time you're packing something, you're packing to meet the standard requirements of that you're packing to. So the reason the pack house is a complex environment is because you always want to please the customer to make sure that I've been able to pack to your specification. But now, in the process of meeting your specification, there is a lot of wastage. You can make a mistake to waste a lot trying to please the customer. And that's why now it becomes a process. It becomes a complex process to make sure that you're streamlining, that you as a producer, you're not losing out to please the consumer.
Yes.
Because you find you're trying to shape up like a fine beans, there is a lot of strip outs, but in the process of that spec, there is a lot of wastage in the parts.
Yeah, I've also gone through the same. I do in a part-time way.
Yes.
I do some rosemary exports.
Yes.
Through some friends of mine, and at times they will give an order and say we want you to do 12 centimeters rosemary beads. And you know, the kawaida people who are harvesting, they will do 15 to 18 centimeters because you know the bunch, if the small bunch is overgrown, I will pluck it even when it is overgrown because of course I want to do away with the overgrown.
Yes.
And so when you go to the pack house, we have to go back and cut so that we can please the buyer who only wanted 12 centimeter, yet we did 18 centimeter. So what happens to the small bit? It's wasted.
Good. Now, what happens is when it comes to pack housing process, the biggest challenge is if you can be able to monitor the product with a system process, with a discipline, then you'll be able to allocate what does not meet this customer to another customer. You do not be specifically that because I'm not meeting your specification, I'm going to cut that product so that part of it's becoming a wastage and also it is wasted to your kilos. So what you do is, when you have such a technology, you can be able now to be looking for other local customers or other customers who will be able to be comfortable with these other specs. So what you do with the technology is you'll be able to have a process. It will be our process flows that I'll give you a priority if you're giving me good money, and then the rest I can be able to be fitting them in the other specs without losing money. So the system, the technology in Packhouse just helps you. You're able to work to coordinate well the employees, cost monitoring, and you're able to fight the wastage.
Especially the wastage in product and also labor.
Yes.
Because when I harvest my 18 centimeter rosemary and the client wanted 12 centimeter, I will pay double labor.
Yes.
The first labor is for the harvesters and the second labor is for the cutters who are going to cut it into the required specifications.
Yes.
So I think this software is the way to go. I think for anybody who is operating and managing a pack house, please, my brother, my sister, I think this is the right way to go. It's going to minimize a lot of wastage and a lot of costs that are not necessary. So Gitonga, tell me much about record keeping.
Good. Something you need to understand is every time that someone is leaving a house or a business, there is what they call goodwill. In farming, someone would be producing naturally a certain product, but if you don't have historical information to show that the partner or the stakeholder that you're partnering, that you have information of what you've been doing, it's very hard to start fighting to get better, higher prices of your own product. Because your historical information and your track record is the one that quantifies the value of what you're selling. The record keeping, what it helps you, anytime that you have an issue like traceability in the market, and they have an issue with your product, it will be very easy to track back to where something happened. With one click, you'll be able to track the mistake, the chemical was applied here, so that if there is any rectification that should be done, you can be able to rectify it. You'll not be fighting everywhere trying to get where the mess happened. So the advantage of a record keeping as a farmer is to track and to make sure there is recourse, so that you're able to build your own discipline and also for your customer, to your customer confidence, that at least I know I'm safe when I can be able to track back of every information that is being tracked according to the growing process.
Very well. So murimi angikorwo wina kiuria o giothe kigie farm soft ino turari horo wayo ni software ya manage migunda itu, pack houses citu, aruti a wira itu, record keeping wega na maundu mangi maingi. Ajerie gutuma kiuria giaku kuhitukira 22294 otoguo urona thini wa television yaku, na wona twamukira kiuria giaku ni tugucokeria kahinda gatari kuraihu muno. No nyende makiria muno kumenya kana ni uri murata, kana hihi we uranyona ndagika ino wina mugunda munene ukoretwo ukirima na ni weragia kuingira thini wa thoko ya export na ni uremetwo. Heitumi ithatu ingituma uremwo ni kuingira thoko ya export. Gitumi kia mbere ni gukorwo product ciaku itiringaine na matanya ma aguri acio maguraga export market. Ikorwo ringi mbegu irio handaga tiyo yendekanaga, flavor yendekanaga tiyo handaga na maundu mangi ta macio. Gitumi gia keri ni angikorwo urarima na mutaratara uria utetikiritio ni aguri. Tariu ni gutemire ndakwira atiriri thini wa Europe ni kwagire na mutaratara uria metire Europe gap, na makiuga ati for you to buy anything from any African market, the product must fit within the European good agricultural practices.
Yes.
Na uhoro ucio kirehe thina muno na migunda mingi kiremwo ni biashara. Gitumi gia gatatu ni angikorwo welfare ya aruti aku a wira ndiramatitwo kuringana na ikiro iria ciendekanaga thiini wa international standards. Na hani ho kwenda kwariria arimi a mahua, the floriculture.
Yes.
They have a serious challenge locking buyers into the products they are doing in Kenya because of lack of, should I say, lack of compatibility in terms of what they are doing in the farm with their staff and what is expected. Could you discuss something very slightly about that? Because I think you have worked in this some of these companies and you know what's going on.
Yes. Okay, what happens is if you're producing a product to someone and you're building a relationship, there is always an expectation that it's a MOU. Yes. That you will meet specific standards, and so that the relationship can be able to remain. Because what they expect is you will just need to increase your standard. And the challenge with the African environment is there is always the old mentality which is trying to close with the other one. Mm-hmm. And what happens in our farming industry right now is I think we're still catching up. Because these ones will give you a very high expectation, which for an African to get there, it is gradual. Mm. Then they have an expectation which they're imposing on you. What are some of the expectations they always lay on African farms? Okay, good. Like when it comes to flowers, there is what they call the re-entry. They call the re-entry intervals. The safety on the product. They call like the WHO of a crop or a chemical must be. The ones that are sprayed, they must be banned, like first class, some class 2s. Mm-hmm. And when anybody that is passing or is being producing that flower at that spec of that area, they call them the buffer levels. The buffer zones is a certain space, a number of meters that the employee should be passing through. Mm-hmm. So that they cannot get into contact with these level 1, level 2, level 3 chemicals. Yes. Because they are hazardous even to the environment. Yeah, true. So you'll find, yes, NEMA will come in, but also the standards, the global standards for like PCPB, they will come in because there is also the safety of the employee and also the customer, the ones that are coming to carry that flower. Yes. They want safety with that specific flower. And that's why they always call about, they're very sensitive about the re-entry and the re-entry interval. That's what they talk about REIs. And I can tell you, I have a lot of friends who are in the floriculture business. Yes. And they tell me that's their biggest challenge. How they are able to prove to the buyers that their flowers have passed through those standards. Yes. Looking at, the kind of labor they're engaging in the flower farms, the kind of trainings they're doing in the flower farms, the capacity building events that are happening in the flower farms. Yes. And they're looking at the expenditure versus what the buyer is giving back. Yes. And sometimes they're not able to balance. And I'm thinking this software would really be of a solution to them. Yes. Because they'll be able to key in every single activity that is happening into building that category of welfare, staff welfare, into merging into the World Health Organization's, laid standards and so on and so forth. What happens is, let me just mention about the horticulture, because there's floriculture, but they are trying to put in floriculture also in horticulture. Yes. Horticulture, what they do is there is what they call MRLs, maximum residue levels. Yes. When the crop has been sprayed, they expect that chemical should have a certain pre-harvest interval. Yes. The clearance of that chemical in that crop for a certain period. Yes. So most of the food industry, they are very sensitive in such regulations. So, but they always build the case for MRLs and re-entry intervals for flowers with specific standards. If they come to your cleanness of the pack house or the machines, and that's why I was talking too much about the quality control and traceability is tagged along with the regulations. So when you talk about the floriculture and the horticulture, the regulations that they put because of safety, and they put because of not only for the customer, also for yourself. Yes. Yes. True.
So murimi ngwiciria ni turagutwarithia wega tũkũritũhĩria rũthiomi ũtũrekere ũmũthĩ nĩ tondũ mũgeni witũ ndarahota kwĩyaria wega na Gĩkũyũ na Gĩthwaĩri na niĩ nĩ wakĩmenya Gathwaĩri gakwa gatiũkaga ũndũ no na harĩ kũrĩ ũguo Ngai no mwĩhokeku no tũratobora angĩkorwo wĩna kĩũria o gĩothe ũngĩenda kũũria Mr. Gitonga. He's a very young man, very intelligent, and would want to share with you. Kĩũria gĩothe ũngĩkorwo wĩna kĩo no mwarĩrie kũhĩtũkĩra SMS 22294. Kĩo nĩ ũndũ wa gũkorwo hamwe na ithuĩ thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Kilimo Plus. Niĩ njĩtagwo Gathoni wa Mũcomba na ndĩna mũgeni ũgwĩtwo Nehemia Gitonga kuma kambuni ĩtagwo Tenacious Systems Kenya Limited na ena software tureta FarmSoft ya guteithia arĩmi guthondeka maundu maya mothe twandĩkĩte haha. Angĩkorwo wĩna maragita na nĩ ũraiywo maguta na ndũramenya paĩ kagĩragita kĩu kana nĩ kĩrahũthĩra maguta macio, angĩkorwo wĩna combine harvester ndũramenya kana maguta marĩa kĩranyua nĩ kĩrathiĩ kũgetha ngano kũringana na ũrĩa wendekaga, angĩkorwo wĩna aruti a wĩra thĩinĩ wa shamba yaku na ndũĩ kana aruti othe a wĩra nĩ marabatarana kana hena wĩra mwega mararuta kana nĩ ũramarutithia wĩra mũno kana hanini. All those issues are the issues that this software is able to manage. And the young gentleman here aratũmenyithia atĩ the list is endless ũhoro-inĩ wĩgiĩ maũndũ marĩa mothe tũtanyĩte gũkorwo tũkĩhũthĩra thĩinĩ wa ũrĩmi witũ. Atĩrĩrĩ mũrĩmi wĩna kĩũria o gĩothe ririkana no ucemanie na ithuĩ kana no ucemanie na Bwana Gitonga. Bwana Gitonga, are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you available on internet, on website?
Yes.
So that those that are willing to follow you up for this discussion can track you down and have a discussion with you.
Yes, I have those platforms, but I think the first thing for now, because it's something that you need to ask more questions, it's good first of all you start with the Utugi TV.
Yes.
You write a text to
22294.
Yes.
22294.
22294.
Yes.
And then from there, they can be able to follow up, at least to be able to help you. Yeah.
Very well. But I'm glad that you're also very active on Facebook.
Yes.
I've been seeing a lot of postings that are coming from your end.
Yes.
And I guess if anybody is able to look up on our Facebook page, Utugi TV official Facebook page, I'm sure you're going to get in touch with us and we are going to have further discussions on the same. Bwana Gitonga, tell me much about the pricing now. If I want this software, how much does it cost? Or do I have any other cost that I have to incur other than just buying what you told us, the accessories like the tablet, the laptop, the...
Good. Okay.
Yes.
The platform, first thing you need to understand is there's a global system that you need to... It has made all the integrity that you need in any market, whether it's in Europe, in the US, in Asia. So it's not a shabby technology that I'm offering you. So at least you will be able to understand the quality of what I'm giving you. So what we've done is we've been able to set up the minimum. Anybody a medium farmer, you can be able to pick it with $2,500. But if you're a small farmer, you can be able to partner with about 10 farmers. 10 farmers, $250 per farmer. It's easy go. So I think the best thing to do is we'll start with the most basic technology. For a single farmer is only $2,500. But if you want us to host it for cloud, that's when you add at least for the $400.
$400.
Yes, so it becomes $2,900.
All right. We are talking in terms of dollars today, you know.
Yes.
Well done, Bwana Gitonga. So, are you available for training? For example, if a farm would want to invite you for some training to train the managers, the senior management, and how much do you charge?
Good. What happens is for an individual farmer or for a medium, the minimum we do for free. We don't charge any training for. I'm talking for the minimum for a farmer. For that price I've given, that one is we're interacting with the farmer. But any for enterprises, that's when we have a pricing, which we do $30 per hour. But for any farmer, small farmers, we just do it for free.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And assume I am based in a place like Eldoret.
Yes.
And of course you are in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Do you really have to come to my farm to install this software and train me, or do you have an arrangement where you can train the locals to, implement and actually maintain the software when you are not available?
Thank you for that question. I think when it comes to regional, what you do is we build capacity on your people. We build the system will just be a plug and play. You just log in, you adjust the license, you just plug and play. But when it comes to enterprise, if it's a reasonable enterprise that you want to cut the cost for us to come there, we just come and build capacity to your team. So we make sure that your team, they understand all the processes and your requirement. We'll give you the system according to your requirements because it's a complex system. So I'll give you the features that fit your requirements. So what you do best is I come and build your capacity to your managers, to your IT, if you have an IT. But if you're a farmer, you just know, at least we will just make an arrangement, we have a small package which is tied to the cost. So I'll not charge you, even if you're wherever for a farmer, we've tried to minimize the cost so that even the farmer can enjoy whatever the other businesses are doing. And they can be able to feel they are part of the innovation that even the world is doing.
Very well.
Yes.
There are very many innovations awards that are flying around, and I guess you should like we were discussing with you earlier, you should be one of those that are going to fight for these awards for innovating such kind of softwares. I'm very excited that I've met you because I guess you should fly with these kind of awards. And have you participated in any of the local awards for the young people in agriculture?
Yes, I did, but I just came to discover the drive that we have is different. It's the need. It's a need in the world. Right now in African business, I'm fighting any technology that would come faster in the world. That's what we're thinking. If they bring awards, they're welcome. But what we're thinking right now is to meet the needs that are already there.
So how many countries have you sold to this FunSoft software?
These are global systems, so don't be shocked to hear that it has covered Australia, it has covered Europe, it has covered US and Asia. Africa, it has too much presence in Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa, and right now in East and Central Africa. That's when right now there's too much people that are coming up with agriculture, and that's why we are reaching them.
Very well,
yeah.
very well.
Because before I had to travel to Zimbabwe to go and implement a system, this one. But right now, I just want the people around to make sure that adopt. This is what you have. Take it.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. So, what message would you have for the young people like you?
I think
especially those that are really idle and they have the certificates like you do. You said you have a degree in information technology from JKUAT.
Yes.
I'm sure in your class you are more than 50 or more. And there are some that are still seated waiting for a job interview somewhere. Talk to them, brother.
I think the best thing I would tell you is you have something. It's only that beside the papers that you have and the credibility that you build around your academics, you have something. And that's something you need to recognize it from yourself. And right now you don't need money. You just need that idea that I can do this. Money will come. That's what I can say for anybody who desires to do something. I'll tell you that when God brought you in this world, He gave you something. And you have that something.
Make use of it.
Yes.
Very well.
Yeah.
Ndiyo kana niko mwitekeria biathi kana kwamba guikaraga nake nigetha thome maingi megie horo wigie software tondu na ndikire wa generation iyo iria irenda gukorwo hihi ikienda kuhuthira karamu na karatathi gwika ithabu ria mugunda na turero riu tutigane na turamuna karatathi tuhuthire tablets tuhuthire smartphone tuhuthire laptops desktops nigetha turime urimi wina umithio na urimi wina vaida. I think I want to allow you go.
Thank you.
But before you go, you must give your contacts. If people want to talk to you concerning this, honestly, if they talk to me, I have no idea.
Okay.
So please give them either your email or your cell phone.
Okay.
You know, and so that you can start conversations. Let the conversation begin.
Okay. The first thing that you need to do is you'll pick up your phone is 0733. The quadruple 120. Quadruple 1. That one is specifically for Tenacious and FarmSoft. So at least you can be able to reach out there. All you just write to info@TSL. TSL is for Tenacious Systems Limited -Kenya.com.
Very good.
Yes.
Otoguo mandiko macio maronekana thiini wa television yaku tigirira ni wa moya wa gaidu we no gukorwo rucio no gakorwo we murimi uria munene muno wa large scale ya indo iria ciothe wiriragiria na riu ndio ihoya riakwa ni Gathoni wa Mucomba handu-ini ha Bwana Nehemia Gitonga ni njitagwo Gathoni wa Mucomba na tabarira ino itagwo Kilimo Plus tukunyitaniria na kambuni itagwo Tenacious Systems Kenya Limited na product yao itagwo FarmSoft na ni software ya manage mugunda nyanagia mahinda-ini mangi maria Ngai witu eguturathima tukorwo twi hamwe urorima gukumia no rathimo ni Ngai. Bye bye.